Hey guys, and thank you for watching. Today I have my third and final installment of my Best of Beauty 2016, and I'm focusing on tools. I'm going to try to kind of keep it short and simple when I'm talking about them because I do have a lot of tools. I have face tools and eye tools, so let's jump right in. I want to start with my go-to for foundation, and that is the Beauty Blender. I love the Beauty Blender. I find that it works better to apply my foundation with a Beauty Blender than a brush just because I have dry skin. It gives me an airbrushed look. I go through probably only about 2 a year, and I just feel like the Beauty Blender gives me a nice flawless foundation application. I do also like to use it when I am setting powder underneath my eyes just because I have dry skin. So since it is a dampened Beauty Blender, it kind of just lets the product lay on there nicely and it doesn't look cakey and powdery. Next, what I use to contour is my Makeup Geek rounded blush brush. I really like this to contour because I feel like it fits into the hollows of my cheeks nice and easily, and it just gives me that nice crisp line that I want when I'm contouring. So even though this is a blush brush, it's nice and rounded, it's a little bit dense, and it just gives me the contour that I'm looking for. For blush, I love my Real Techniques blush brush. It is very large, but I feel like it just gets on the apples of my cheeks and blends my blush back into my contour, and it just kind of mixes the contour and blush and gives me just a nice, flawless cheek look. For highlight, I use 2 products. The first is the Sigma Tapered Highlighter F35. I like how it hits the high points of the cheeks and just gives a nice even glow. It doesn't look like a streak of highlight or like a strip of highlighter. So I like the way that this brush blends the highlight into my skin. But I do also like to use this brush from Morphe. It is the MB23, and I like to use this when I am highlighting my Cupid's bow and on the nose. I just feel like this is kind of a large brush, and I just don't feel like I'm getting a nice concentration of highlight when I'm using this on my Cupid's bow or the nose. So I feel like this Morphe brush just kind of gets in there, applies the highlight where I want it to, and these are just a winning combination for me. Now I do like to apply powder underneath my contour and bake it for a little bit just to kind of make my contour look nice and crisp and clean, and I do that with the Beauty Blender sometimes. But in 2016 I discovered, thanks to Jaclyn Hill, the e.l.f. contouring blush, and I just dip this into my powder, and then you can get a nice even line underneath your contour, and I just kind of pack the powder on either side. And I normally do this after I contour and blush, and I just leave the powder on for less than 5 minutes. I highlight my cheekbones, and then I like to brush it off with my next brush, which is by e.l.f., and it is the small stippling brush, and I'll just brush the powder off, and it gives me a nice crisp contour. And so these brushes used together are flawless. Moving on to eye brushes, I do have a lot of eye brushes, so I was trying to choose the ones that I just go to time and time again, and these are the brushes that when I'm traveling, I make sure that I have with me to apply my eye makeup. And first is probably the brush that I've had the longest, and it is my Mirabella Eye Blender. I got this in an Ipsy bag, I want to say like 3 to 4 years ago, and this is what I use for my transition shade. I feel like I can just get all over the eye area. It blends nice and smooth, the brush is smooth, and this is a go-to staple for me in my collection. I use the Mirabella Eye Blender for my transition shade, but when I'm going in with a crease shade, I reach for my Morphe M513. And again, this is nice and fluffy. It has nice and soft bristles, and so I feel like I can just get my crease shade in there and also blend it out at the same time. So this brush is definitely a go-to for my crease shade. If I want to add a little bit more definition in the crease or for my lower lash line, I go in with this brush, which I do believe was also from an Ipsy bag. It is by the brand, I guess you would say Inspire, I-N-S-P-R, but I can kind of concentrate this in the crease if I'm looking for a more defined crease, but oftentimes I use this on my lower lash line to blend out my transition shade, and so this just gives me a nice blown out lower lash line that I really love. When I want some definition in the outer V, I reach for my Makeup Geek Outer V brush. It's nice and dense, and so I can really concentrate my eyeshadow on that outer V to get a nice dark smoky eye. I do not use this to blend it out. I would use this to kind of pack on the product, and then I would either go in with my Inspire brush to blend it out, or even my Morphe brush to kind of blend out the product, and it just gives me a nice smoky outer V. For lid shades, I have two brushes that I would reach for in 2016. One being the Urban Decay brush that you get with the Naked palette. It is a synthetic brush. It's nice and dense and flat, and it just kind of packs the product on where you need it. I do often use Fix Plus when I'm using this brush, because I normally use this brush when I'm trying to get a nice foiled eye look. The next brush that I like to use for eyeshadow is again from my Ipsy Glam bag, and it is by Royal & Langnickel, the medium eyeshader brush. I feel like this really packs the color onto my eyelid nicely, and this is a go-to for me. Now, after I do prime my eyelids, I like to set all over the eyes, and so when I am setting all over my eyelids, I like to go in with my Real Techniques brush. I'm not sure what this one is called. I've used it so much that it's worn off on the handle, but I do believe I got this in the eye kit set. There was a set of several eye brushes. I picked that up, and it's nice and fluffy, and I feel like it just picks up the product and puts it all over my lid nicely, and so I use this one pretty much every day. When I am working on the lower lash line, I like to kind of pack the product on before I blend it out with my Inspire brush, and to pack on color, I use my e.l.f. eyeliner brush, and so I normally just take whatever deep crease shade or outer V shade that I use, and I kind of press the product into my lower lash line, and then I will also wiggle it back and forth a little bit to blend it out. But once I have the product on there with my e.l.f. brush, I do like to go in with my Inspire brush and just kind of blow it out a little bit so that it's not a harsh streaky line, but more blown out and diffused. My last must-have brush for 2016 was another brush by Real Techniques, and it is the Accent brush. I like to use this not only for the inner corner, but also for a pop of highlight on the brow bone. I feel like this is really good if you're trying to do small detail work as well. Like if you were doing a cut crease, you could probably use this to kind of get the crease where you want it to be before blowing it out. And so it's just nice to have a small little brush that can kind of get into the nooks and crannies of your eye. Those are my go-to makeup tools. These are the tools that I take with me when I'm traveling, and the tools that I reach for every day. If you have some favorite tools that I didn't mention, please list them down below so that I can check them out. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!